It seems Ripple and Coinbase are locking horns in a heated bidding war, both eyeing Circle, the powerhouse behind USDC, the world's second largest stablecoin by market cap. The crypto world is buzzing with speculation as these two giants make their move. Personally, I'm rooting for Ripple to come out on top. Why? The ripple effects, pun intended, would be massive. After all, Ripple dipped its toes into the stablecoin game back in December with RLUSD, and it's already off to an impressive start. Imagine what they could achieve with Circle in their corner. It's gaining momentum, but it's still just a fraction of USDC's size. A token that's built a solid reputation for trust and reliability. Unlike Tether, USDC has made a name for itself by going above and beyond to follow the rules, ensuring they never cut corners. They've put a clear focus on compliance, fully embracing the regulatory hoops they need to jump through. This approach aligns perfectly with Ripple's style: methodical, transparent, and always playing the long game as the true adults in the room. There are plenty of potential benefits here, especially for XRP holders, at least that's what I'd imagine. So let's dive into some speculation and unpack the specifics. Right off the bat, why would Ripple make a move like this? The answer seems clear: to secure a dominant position in the booming stablecoin market. The revenue potential alone makes this an enticing path. But there's more to it. This could solidify the long-term viability of XRP and the XRP ledger if Circle starts issuing USDC on it. And if Ripple actually owns Circle, why wouldn't they make that happen? It's a no-brainer. Circle is already a trusted player in this space, so such a move would shake things up in a big way. While Circle hasn't issued USDC on the XRP ledger yet, they've done so on plenty of other chains. If they move forward with this, remember, XRP is hard-coded to make it possible. Every single USDC transaction on the XRP blockchain relies on XRP as a gas token. This isn't just a technicality, it's a game changer for XRP's long-term viability within its ledger. Plus, the total value locked TVL has on the XRP ledger would see a massive boost as a result. And let's face it, TVL has always been a major metric, especially during the last market cycle. Most coins that hit new all-time highs did so because of higher TVL. While it's not the only factor, it's definitely a big one. So fingers crossed that Ripple pulls this off. Only time will tell. Now, let me dive into the specifics. But before I continue, quick disclaimer: I'm not a financial expert, just someone who loves digging into these topics. I'm not a financial advisor, so don't go buying or selling anything based on what I say. Seriously, don't. I'm just a crypto enthusiast who loves making YouTube videos for fun. With that said, let's dive into this intriguing headline from Fortune. Circle eyes IPO, but whispers of deals with Coinbase and Ripple spark speculation. Circle Internet Financial, the company behind the stablecoin USDC, filed paperwork in early April to push forward with its long-awaited IPO. But here's where it gets interesting. Sources say Circle has been in informal talks to potentially sell itself, sell to Coinbase, the US biggest crypto exchange, or Ripple, a leader in crypto payments. According to 4 banking and equity insiders, this could mean the IPO might not happen after all. Sources who spoke on condition of anonymity due to the sensitive nature of the talks revealed that Circle is aiming for a hefty $5 billion valuation for its IPO. Let's take a moment here. Does it really matter which company ends up buying? At the end of the day, it's not about who likes Ripple or Coinbase more. Personal preferences won't drive this decision. Money will. Whoever puts the biggest offer on the table will win the deal, plain and simple. So the real question is, who's ready to dig deeper into their pockets? Honestly, it feels like either company could make this work, so all eyes are on the bids. Interestingly, Coinbase already holds a stake in Circle, so this move would be a massive leap, transitioning from partial ownership to full control. On the other hand, Ripple seems like a natural fit for this deal, aligning perfectly with their business model, something I touched on earlier in the video. Personally, I'm rooting for Ripple to snag this one. If they do, I can't help but see a bright future for XRP and its holders. But here's the real question: who's ready to shell out the bigger bucks? Ripple just might be willing to up the ante to make it happen. You're looking at a full-on market takeover here, and it's crystal clear why this is such a pivotal move for Ripple. They're already integrating stablecoins into their payment flows, specifically on-demand liquidity, in corridors involving the US. Sure, the current SEC v. Ripple lawsuit injunction complicates things, but let's be real. It's only a matter of time before that roadblock disappears. In every other corridor, XRP is doing the heavy lifting. But even in the US, XRP plays a sneaky yet crucial role Whether it's RLUSD or USDC running on the XRP ledger, XRP isn't sitting on the sidelines. It's there in every transaction as the gas token, ensuring the system runs smoothly. Bottom line, XRP is in the game no matter what. It's a win-win scenario for Ripple and anyone backing their vision. If Coinbase came knocking, Circle wouldn't hesitate to sell, a banker close to the matter revealed. Things shift week to week, another insider added. Yet Circle remains publicly committed to its plans to go public, according to multiple sources. Back in April, Circle filed for its much anticipated IPO, but progress is stalled, terms aren't set, and the roadshow hasn't begun. Meanwhile, Coinbase and Ripple stayed silent, declining to comment when contacted. Circle is not for sale. Our long-term goals remain unchanged, the company declared in an email to Fortune on Monday. An insider, however, dismissed this as a carefully crafted facade. That's the public stance, but it's not the reality, they said. Contrary to some claims, Coinbase and Circle share a long history. Back in 2018, they teamed up to launch Center Consortium, the joint venture behind the USDC stablecoin. Fast forward to 2023, and the terms of their partnership shifted. Coinbase gained an equity stake in Circle, while Circle took over full governance of USDC, as reported by Fortune. The collaboration didn't end there. The two companies continue to split revenue from USDC's reserve interest income, an arrangement that heavily favors Coinbase in certain scenarios. According to Circle's S1 filing, both parties typically share 50% of the residual revenue tied to USDC reserves. However, here's the kicker: Coinbase pockets 100% of that revenue when the USDC is stored on its platform. Talk about a win-win for Coinbase. This scenario seems to be playing out more frequently lately, especially given Coinbase's recent earnings report showing increased income from its USDC partnership. While some of this growth could be attributed to the overall expansion of the stablecoin market, Coinbase's influence over Circle goes much deeper. The current agreement grants Coinbase significant control, including a clause that prevents Circle from forming new third-party partnerships affecting USDC revenue without Coinbase's approval. On top of that, Coinbase gains partial control of Circle's intellectual property if insolvency occurs. These dynamics have led many to see Coinbase as the obvious buyer for Circle. I feel like they're practically one company, joked a second source. The situation gets even more amusing when you remember Ripple's bold move. Back in April last year, Ripple announced plans to launch its own stablecoin to compete directly with Circle, adding a new layer of intrigue to this already complex web of partnerships and rivalries. Circle played it cool, congratulating Ripple. It was all very grown up. But here's the kicker. Circle is now trying to outdo Ripple in the cross-spender payments game. Basically, they're both stepping into each other's turf, which is equal parts ironic and entertaining. But doesn't that kind of mean they're perfectly matched? Let's talk Ripple. Here's where it gets juicy. Ripple's not coming to the table empty-handed. Armed with a hefty war chest, Ripple reportedly offered $4 billion, 0 cents to $5 billion, 0 cents to buy Circle. The plot twist, Circle turned it down, calling the bid too low, and Fortune later confirmed any bid by Ripple would likely involve XRP, the cryptocurrency tied to its name, along with cash. But let's clear this up once and for all. Ripple did not create XRP. XRP was born in June 2012, while Ripple came along a few months later in September. They aren't the same thing, no matter how often people mix them up. Now, Ripple's war chest is impressive. Its balance sheet boasts 4.56 billion XRP, valued at $11 billion, $770 million, 0 cents, and another 37.13 billion XRP, worth a staggering $95 billion, $700 million, 0 cents, locked in escrow as of March 31, according to Ripple's Q1 2025 XRP markets report. Meanwhile, Coinbase brings different firepower to the table. As of March 31, it had $8 billion, 0 cents in cash on hand for its latest 10Q filing. And because it's a public company, Coinbase has the flexibility to raise more funds if needed, whether by issuing debt or selling shares via public or private placements. While Ripple boasts a solid balance sheet, Coinbase still seems to have the edge in favorability, according to one banker. But who knows? Ripple has options to bring cash into play. Some worry about XRP being part of the payment strategy, fearing it might all be converted to cash by Circle's current owners, potentially flooding the market. Honestly, I don't buy it. There are plenty of ways to handle this behind the scenes. Sure, it could shift supply and demand dynamics. I'm not denying that, but it's unlikely to overwhelm the market. Take a cue from big players like MicroStrategy, now rebranded as Strategy. When they decided to accumulate Bitcoin, they didn't just dive in head first and disrupt the market. Instead, they made steady, calculated purchases over a short period, weeks, maybe even less, to avoid causing wild price swings. Whether you're buying or selling crypto, a similar approach can work wonders. Opt for over-the-counter OTC transactions and pace yourself. After all, if you suddenly flood the market with a massive sale, the value of what you're selling will plummet. That kind of panic move doesn't help anyone. They're not about to flood the market with XRP and tank the price. That would be ridiculous. No one's doing that. Instead, they sell gradually over time. If they need cash, they simply convert and move on, which is almost certainly the plan. It's just common sense. If Ripple has to take this route, it's the most logical play. Personally, I always figured they'd use their balance sheet or sell the XRP directly, but who knows? We're not behind the curtain, so we can only guess what's really going on. Here's the thing. No matter what happens, there's no reason to panic about this significantly impacting XRP's price. Even if, hypothetically, they dumped everything at once, which they won't. That's a one-time move. Sure, it might cause a temporary dip, but the market would absorb it quickly. So honestly, it's not a major concern. The key takeaway, there's still a way forward here, and Ripple could absolutely pull it off. As for who's more likely to come out on top, it's hard to say since so much is happening behind closed doors. Some think Coinbase might be the better fit over Ripple, but that's just one opinion. And let's face it, it's all subjective anyway. Let's talk business models. Who's going to pay more? Because let's be real, if I'm the owner of Circle, I'm going with whoever cuts the biggest check. Wouldn't ya? Makes perfect sense, right? So yeah, this is looking pretty exciting. Something big is definitely brewing. If offers like these are flying around, I can't help but root for Ripple to come out on top. But hey, it could just as easily be Coinbase. The suspense is real and we're all in for the ride together, folks. Oh, and quick reminder, I'm not a financial advisor. Don't buy or sell anything based on what I say. Seriously, that would be a terrible, terrible idea.